Have you ever wondered why teaching can be so difficult? Why is there so much negativity around education? Why is there so much negative language about education? Education is so vital and such an important gift we give our students. So why is it surrounded by negativity? Why are we constantly working in this, and how does it impact you and your health? It's a really good question, and if you're here watching this video, it shows me you're passionate about education, you're passionate about learning, and you want to find really good strategies to cope with the negativity you're working in, to keep sharing your passion and love with students. And that's the most important thing we can do. Hopefully by the end of this video we'll have explored together why this happens, why we're surrounded it, what to look out for so that it doesn't creep into your day-to-day practice, and how you can become a healthier and happier version of yourself. I'm Rachel Hardman, and this is Passionate About Music Education, and I've been teaching for 25 years, and I have been through many different changes because I've worked both in the UK, in the public system, I've worked internationally, again in the public system and in the private system. And it doesn't matter where you are, there are always so much change and so much demand on education. What you find, even thinking about the word demand, it's a negative emotion. I know that when they brought in Ofsted in the UK, it was to inspect schools, to measure schools. Although the intention of Ofsted is good, to ensure that students are getting the best education regardless of which school that they are in. The problem is it's been used as a tool to create fear, anxiety, shame and blame within education, whether it's being done by Ofsted, by the report itself, or internally within the culture of your school. And it's really easy for that to happen, and it's really hard to work in that environment and stay positive. I've been really lucky and blessed to teach music education. I love teaching music to secondary school students. I love seeing them progress from year 7 up to year 13. I like to see them grow as musicians, but as young people, and you watch their personality shape from when they come in as a nervous year 7, excited about being in high school or middle school, and then they're going through the system, and you see them changing and growing into their personality and their identity, and you sort of see them grow, and you see their friendships change, and you see their ambitions and dreams and their achievements. It's so fabulous, and that really is, to me, like the most important gift I have had as an educator. I've worked with amazing children, whether they've carried on studying music or not. I've seen young adults now, children that I taught when I first started teaching, who are fantastic parents, husbands, wives, working in society, really contributing, and it just makes me proud. It's like I feel like a proud mum of these children. But they're my memories too, the concerts and the shows and the fun when you go on tour, and like when you've taken them to see their first concert or their first musical, and you're part of that journey with them. It goes beyond the classroom, and it's easy to forget all of that when you are surrounded by negativity, when it seeps into the day-to-day running of a school, this education system. Because when I stand back and go, what do I love about teaching? Of course, I've worked with amazing colleagues, I've been able to travel the world, I've taught amazing children, I've met amazing parents, I've had the opportunity to do music every single day. So let's really unpick this negativity. Where is it coming from, and how is it impacting us on a day-to-day basis in the classroom? Well, let's take society first of all. This expectation that teachers are constantly available. You're teaching in the classroom, but a parent expects an immediate answer to your email. This idea that we can suddenly change from teaching in the classroom to going straight online in 4 seconds. There's this expectation beyond what teachers can do. And then, of course, as soon as it's challenged, teachers in education can often be portrayed in a negative mindset, particularly in the press and society. Why does this happen? Well, because people want to measure education, and of course they're measuring education, they're really measuring teachers and children, and by measuring you are putting stress. How often are we celebrating success? It's there, but are we celebrating success more than negativity? Not everybody really understands what happens in education on a daily basis. You and I do because we do it every day. I'm sure there are days where you teach all day with barely a break, and people don't realise that without those breaks, you are still having to go home and do work on top of your busy day. So there's a cultural society aspect of it with a negative language where they talk about education. I think there's also the problem with a school culture. And again, that's kind of dictated in some way by society, exam boards, governments, but it's also what's going on in a culture, whether you've got progressive culture, a team, a sort of culture of working together, or you've got a culture of blame. And I've seen schools do it really well, and I've seen schools do it really not so well. And the difference between that is mindset. Schools that are working really well together and everybody's on the same page, you'll see that there's a lot more positive language, a lot more celebration, a lot more teamwork, that positive language coming in. And the schools that aren't working well, the ones that I've worked in where staff morale's low, you'll hear on the corridor, you'll hear it in the staff room, you'll see it in emails, you'll hear it in staff meetings, the negative language seeping in. And the problem with that is easy to then absorb it into your own language because we're very good at mirroring, and it's really hard to stay away from that. Have you ever sat in a staff room with a really positive member of staff who just brightens your day, who changes the mood, who really does see the good in everything, and you walk away and you feel much happier? How do I help you keep a healthy mindset and a healthy balance so that you don't get depressed, you don't have anxiety, and you keep healthy and well, and you don't get to that burnout, because it's easy to get to that situation? So first of all, keep yourself away from negative language, whether that means you turn off social media or limit your social media, whether that's not watching the news, that's whether you're finding people in your life are negative and you need to have a break from them, and it's not ignoring them, it's just maybe limiting how much they're impacting your life. And again, within the staff room, within your school workplace, and I'm not saying ignore people, but really go, is this person always negative? Can I change the conversation? And if I can't, can I just reduce how much of impact that they have? Or even more importantly, right, they've had a negative conversation, I've been empathetic and I've listened to them and understood their challenges, but I've not carried their burden along into my next lesson or my day because I have to let it go. And that also goes with mirroring, and it's something I've had to work out really hard, because it's easy to mirror somebody else's language, their mindset, whether they're positive and happy and cheerful, or whether they're in a mood because they've had a bad day, which we've all had in teaching, and we want to just get it out. And again, what happens is it's easy to empathise with that person and go, yeah, I've had the same experience, and you sort of talk about it, and it's okay to empathise and support each other. But if you're not careful, it's really easy to get into sort of that negative talk all day. My next section point is to keep positive about every achievement you have made during the day. Don't focus on the one bad lesson or the one student who wasn't engaged. Remember that 99% of what you're doing is success. And I'm really inspired by how many teachers are so dedicated. They have beautiful displays, they're doing amazing lesson planning, they're sharing that resource on TPT and on the internet and working with each other, and you see this in forums and groups where people are helping each other out, and there's so much good. You are making such difference. So if you're watching this, please remember that you are making a difference to students in your classroom. And I know there are days where you really don't feel that, but you are. If you're a music teacher, you're sharing a love of music that will go beyond the classroom, their identity, their personality, what they like, what they don't like. It's going to shape who they grow into. You are making that impact. And so even if they don't become a famous trumpet player, they just don't want to play the xylophone, it's okay, because the relationship you have with them and how you're teaching them, how you're sharing your passion for the subject you are teaching and for learning, lifelong learning, encouraging students to understand that we all keep learning and growing. That's what you have to hold on to. The concerts, the shows, the good parts. If you're having a bad time at the moment because you're not doing live music, you're working online, or you're teaching hybrid, Go back and watch some of your videos. Go back and watch those concert moments. Go and look at the photos. Remember the joy. It's not gone forever. It's just temporary. And we will get back to teaching music properly like we have done. So I often get like thank you cards from students. I like to keep them up in my office for those days when I'm feeling a bit down. I like to put pictures up of students performing in concerts, and I keep them up in my room because it's our achievement. It's my achievement with them, and I'm celebrating what we did together. So if you're feeling down at the moment, try and find those moments that were great, that made you feel happy, and bring that back in. Be careful of the language you're using in your self-talk and the language you're using in your everyday conversations as well. It's really easy for that negative language to come in. It's like, I'm battling for my department, I'm fighting for music education, I'm desperately trying to ensure that children are getting a music experience. The negative language has such an impact, not just on our mind and what we're thinking, but internally. You think about the word fight. As soon as you say that, you tense your body. I'm fighting for my department, I'm fighting for the value of education, I'm fighting for the value of the arts. And although that's exactly what you're doing, the word itself has that negative connotation. It has an impact on your body, and it will bring stress that you will carry around without necessarily even realizing. There's so much talk as a life coach about gratitude and joy and a positive mindset and a positive language, and it really does make a difference. Try to use that in the way that you communicate in emails, and the way you communicate with children, and the way you communicate with colleagues. Now, you might not get that back, but the more you practice it, the more you're doing it, the healthier you will feel, and you will be controlling your own self-talk. If you haven't taught a great lesson today, you haven't taught a great rehearsal, you haven't made that impact you thought you were going to make, the self-talk will automatically go to the negative. It will automatically tell you you're not good enough, you're not working hard enough. And that's not true. You are just actually leading yourself down that path of anxiety and depression because you are being too hard on yourself. It's really difficult to do perfection. In fact, it's impossible to do perfection. And the more you aim for it, the more you're going to be working in fear and shame and blame. And these are really strong negative emotions that we need to start avoiding. There's enough teacher shaming going on in the world without you feeling it for yourself. If you are turning up and you are doing your best for your children, you are being a role model, you care about them as people, and you're helping them understand and navigate their way through what is quite a difficult world we live in, then that is a fantastic job you're doing, and that's what you should be proud of. So be careful of your self-talk, because it's often negative. I know, because I've been there. And my last advice, and you'll see it a lot on this channel, is about practicing self-care and trying different strategies that life coaches like myself talk about to help you unpick why you're stressed and give you healthier ways of coping with it during the work day and also outside of school. So what self-care are you doing at the moment? You're working online, you are teaching hybrid lessons, you are trying to rewrite your curriculum. So what did you do for yourself today? What free activities did you do for just you, not for your family, not for the children, not for your friends? What did you do for you? Did you do reading for yourself? Did you learn for yourself? Did you exercise for yourself? Did you do anything for yourself? And the times when your negative mindset's going is because you haven't got that joy, that fun, that gratitude, that stress relief going on. So trying to include some self-care, 10 minutes, 3 times a day for yourself, whether that's having a longer shower, painting your nails, reading a book, walking the dog, sitting in the garden, listening to music that's not related to teaching, it's for you. That's really very important, and I wish somebody had told me that 10, 15 years ago. Other really good life coaching strategies you can use are, of course, exercise, journaling, looking for the positive in your day, but not just in teaching, but also what you do every day, looking for those moments of joy and gratitude. It will help stop the negative self-talk. It will also quieten the negative language that's going on, so you will feel better regardless of what's going on around you. And meditation is another fantastic way of controlling the mindset. I've always been very skeptical about meditation, and you just go, I haven't got time for meditation, I haven't got time for that. And since I've been using it, it's made such a difference. It's really quiet the mind. I can really control my body. I can control and release some of that tension that I'm carrying during the day. And I'm even doing little like 1 minute breathing exercises between lessons, just to give myself that moment of calmness again. Try it with your students. They probably need it too. And don't forget to have a break. You don't need to have your laptop until 10 o'clock at night. You do not need to answer emails all weekend. This is a slippery slope to burnout. You'll be tired, you won't have slept properly, the brain won't have rested, and this is when that negative language, negative self-talk starts kicking in, and it makes it harder and harder to look for the positive, the joy, the gratitude, and that's really dangerous. And so if you find yourself on that path, then talk to your family members, talk to your colleagues, turn the laptop off, reinvigorate yourself into self-care, and do it straight away, because you will stop yourself going into burnout, I promise. So let's finish on a positive. If you've watched it all the way to here, you are somebody who cares passionately about teaching. You have an excellent attitude for lifelong learning. You want to be a better professional, a better teacher. And that, my friend, is fantastic. You should be super proud of yourself, because if you are doing this and you're watching this video, you are going to be somebody who inspires children to go on to do great things. Look after yourself. Watch out for the negative language that we are surrounded by in society, in education, and in our school environments. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please feel free to reach out at any point. I'm more than happy to help. And remember, you're an amazing teacher. I'm Rachel Hardman, and this is Passionate About Music Education, and I look forward to seeing you soon.